Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is April 1st, 2021, and this is episode 257. Hey, we're looking at Sea of Sorrow. This is fourth issue of the 5-issue arc, and it comes out by IDW. It's at $3.99, and as you can tell, this gruesome cover depicts a man going a little bit crazy, and there's a lot of craziness on the high seas on this one. So we're dealing with the deep sea and the far out ocean on this, and there's lots not going too well. Here's a couple, or here's the variant cover on this, I should say. The writer on this is Rich Dueck. Artist and colorist is Alex Cormack. Color assists was Mark Mullaney. Letters was Justin Birch. The editor was Bobby Curnow. Hopefully I said that okay. And what we get right here is this really crazy scene going on. It's very hard to depict. You really have to look closely. At times the colorist is a little too dark on this. I think I had the same issue with The Witcher on the fourth issue of that. I did the review on that, I think this morning or last night, I can't remember. But on this one, what we've got is the diver. I believe his name is Deke, and he is going nuts because he's seeing this sea monster, mermaid type thing floating around, and then he comes upon this gruesome scene. They're underneath the water trying to, this is like 1929, they're trying to dig up some gold that went down in a German submarine at the end of World War I. And like 10 years later, they're out in the Atlantic trying to get this gold out. And things just have not been going well. Just about everything that could possibly go wrong on the ship has been going wrong. They've already lost 2 divers, and I believe this might be one of them. You can see his face there, just really gruesome looking. And I don't know if he lost a finger there or something. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But he's hearing the song of the Siren, or it's kind of like a mermaid-looking sea monster. And you can see it goes kind of from page to page. We get a shot, a little bit of the submarine in here. And I don't know if you could really see it, but it looks like there's bodies kind of floating around there. And there have been a few bodies that have been pulled from the ship as well, from the deck. So there's been a lot going on. And all of a sudden, he comes up against the bewitching sea monster mermaid creature. And he's being hypnotized. You can look at his facial expression. And he is just enamored and just horrified at the same time. And another diver has gone down with him and is able to pull him away. He kind of came down, I think, a little bit later, as I recall, from the last issue. Meanwhile, they've imprisoned this one crew member who's just kind of gone crazy. He's in the bottom of the hull, and they show like suddenly the door that he's been kind of wailing on suddenly unlocks, because there's something afoot on the ship as well. I believe things are going on, so you can see he is very happy and very crazed to leave there. The only female on the ship is, I believe her name is Elsa, and she's worried about the 2 divers down there. And what's going on now too is the part of the crew that runs the ship and the people there that are just there for the gold are starting to be at odds with each other, and things just not been going around. Like I said, there have been a lot of arguments, a lot of bad feelings, a lot of mysterious things. People are blaming each other for things. The disappearance of a few crew members. I think they're getting thrown overboard, but it's actually the mermaid that has come on board and done things. So I think her name's Elsa, is going to get the only gun out of the ship. Well, I think there's 2 guns, but they're both locked up. So she's getting the gun out, and suddenly the guy that was locked up down below comes up he wants to hit her with this big wrench thing, and misses. She dodges out of the way. She's able to kick him in the nutsack there, and then she hits him with this big bar, and she's able to get the gun and leave. So this guy's murmuring, and I think this is the captain's room, so she locks that up. Meanwhile, the two divers are pulled up, and the one guy's just going, "I want to go back down. I want to go back down." And the other one's, "Are you crazy? Take a rest first. We'll go back down." And as you can see, they're kind of going back and forth. So things are not going well at all. This whole trip has been horrifying and disastrous at the same time. So we get the I guess he falls down the stairs. Elsa's trying to help the one diver, and in the meantime, just all kinds of weird stuff's happening. Maybe they pulled up that's what it looks like. Maybe they pulled up an empty one of the diving suits and it has just the neck on there. I just saw that. Just noticed that. Like I said, this is really dark and hard to see. Now we start hearing the siren song going off again, and it's very hypnotizing to the men. And as you can see here, he gets kicked, and the woman is looking for Nick was the other diver. He's the one who's going crazy down there, not Deke. So as you get things are starting to get a little more tense on deck. In the meantime, they start fighting. The storm is coming in, and suddenly their engines go dead as well. And it turns out one of the guys is crazed. There's another guy's crazed. He's been bewitched by the siren who's on board, and he has sabotaged the engine, so that Elsa's gone down to kind of stop it, and it's too late though. And as you can see, the siren is behind him. And what we get is, Elsa is actually a lesbian. She's the only woman on the ship. She's a lesbian, and the mermaid's actually able to seduce her as well. And as horrifying as that is, suddenly the mermaid opens up, and it's actually a false front. Instead of a nice figure, it's just a mouthful of sharp teeth, and she gets devoured at this point, and the guy gets blood on him, and he just goes on his happy way back to work. So we're back at the deck. The guys are fighting. One guy's got the gun, the other gun out, and he fires a shot to get everybody to stop fighting. And it says, "Look, the storm is on us. We don't have any engines. This could be really bad." And the Captain Harlow is being called down below by the crazed person, and so things are just not looking good as he comes out at the end. So here's our cover for the next issue. But this thing is just like breathtaking. I mean, just so intense. The claustrophobia when they're underneath the water is very striking. But this one, they weren't underwater too long. It was just kind of the beginning of the story. Here's the regular cover. Here's the variant cover. Very creepy stuff going on. Transformers Beast Wars. Chained to the Grave. And those are IDW. That might be something interesting to see. G.I. Joe, Wanted for Crimes Against Cobra. And Lock and Key. I don't know if that's maybe a trade. Oh, it says a 2-part event coming up, so there you go. And there's the back end of Sea of Sorrows with its not only the mermaids, but it's also shark-infested waters. So this is a recommend. You would have to buy the first 3 issues to really understand what's going on. But if you are into horror and seagoing, treasure hunters, things like that, I totally would recommend this. This does get the good excavating seal of approval from Indiana Jones. Excuse me, Indie Comics Jones. Ooh, a slip there. My other namesake is somewhere else in the universe right now. So please like, please subscribe, please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. I believe I have one more comic to do for this week, and then we'll be looking forward to next week's comics. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones from the Temple of Tomes bidding you adieu.